In this video, we're going to talk about the importance of storytelling when it comes to marketing and building your business and even being able to sell and have efficient communication with people. Let's go ahead and we're going to jump right into it because I want to give you the SB7 framework that I learned from Donald Miller inside of his book, Building a Story Brand. I'm going to switch the screen and let's take a look at this. Now, I'm giving you the abbreviated version, the quick spark notes. If you want to get the full details, go check out his book. Phenomenal read. I come back to it probably once a year, and it truly has helped with my marketing. It's helped me with my business. It's helped me to go out and gain more customers and really be able to effectively communicate to them more efficiently. Now, let's look at this. So, Donald breaks down the fact that there's 7 key points to any good story. And first off, before we even talk about the 7 key points, the reason you want to communicate in story is because think about what holds a person's attention the longest. We're living in a world where people are believed to have shorter and shorter attention spans. I would argue that the attention span is not getting any shorter. You're probably just really boring and people don't want to listen to you. That's the truth, because the person that you say has a 7-second attention span could sit down and watch a 2-hour film on Netflix. What's happening with that 2-hour film on Netflix that's not happening maybe in your classroom or on your sales call? You're losing them because you're not entertaining them, you're not engaging them, and you're not getting their minds wrapped into a story. Let's look at the story for a second, and I want you to understand this piece. So Donald recognizes that it's the first place you're going to have in your story a main character. Now, most people in business, they make the mistake of believing that the main character is themselves, that they or their company or their service or their product is the main character. That is so totally wrong. Your main character is the customer. It's the client. They are the main character. And what you want to identify in any good story is who's the main character, what do they want? Like, what does the main character want? If I'm a realtor, then I know my main character is the homeowner who wants to sell their home. Or maybe it's the first-time home buyer who wants to buy their house. So I understand who the main character is and what they want. When you communicate with people, recognize that the person you're talking to is the main character, and you want to establish as quickly as possible what do they want. Now, after you know who they are and what they want, look at this. Every good story, every good movie is going to identify a problem, a villain, an external problem, an internal problem, a philosophical problem. But what's the problem that your main character is facing? When you understand what your main character is facing from a business standpoint, we can now start an interesting conversation that matters to them because you know what they're trying to achieve and you know what's standing in their way. And enters the guide. This is you, my friend. In a good story, a good storyteller recognizes, again, that they are not the main character. They are the guide. They're the person giving advice. They're the person that, it's like, this is Jesus, right? The main character of the Bible isn't Jesus, it's you. And Jesus is the guide. He's the one teaching you. And what does the guide do? He gives you a plan. He's showing you how to get from your problem to where you want to be. And then after he gives you that plan, he's going to give a call to action. This is every single story that's ever been written. They're going to tell you, hey, this is what you need to do. Now go do it. They're going to challenge you to do it. And when they challenge you to do it, they're going to explain to you, listen, if you do this, this is what you can expect to happen if you succeed, right? This is the benefits of winning. You get to go where you want to go. However, I also need to tell you, this road has a fork. There's 2 paths you could go down, either the path of victory and light or the path of defeat and darkness. Now, let's look at how this played out in a movie, in a film that you've seen. This movie is called The Hunger Games. Everyone's seen The Hunger Games, and you know Katniss. And so Katniss is the main character in the movie, and she has a problem, right? She's got to survive, right? Because she nominated herself so that her sister wouldn't have to go into the games. So internally, she's worried because not only does she have to go into the games, but she's trying to figure out how does she not lose her soul and how does she not just turn into a regular old killer like everybody else there. And so there's that external problem, which is survival. There's the internal problem that she must stay good and authentic. But then there's a philosophical problem, which is she's got to have this tyranny versus democracy, this good versus evil. So she meets her guide, her mentor, Haymitch. And this is a gentleman who won the Hunger Games in the past. And what he does is he shows her how to basically use the public persona, to use the television to get people to support her, to see her want to win. And he tells her, you have to compete. You have to play in the game. And if you do, guess what? Your district is going to be happy. You get to live. You get to go back home and see your sister. But if you don't, your district is going to be crushed. Your sister and your mom, they're going to lose their daughter. What's so interesting about this story is it's a long movie and people pay attention the entire time. People are invested because the story follows this framework of a main character has a problem, meets a mentor, is given a plan, is challenged to use the plan, and we don't know how's it going to work out. Which way will it end? Will it end in success and happiness, or will it end in disruption? From a business standpoint, it's the same thing with a customer. I want to be able to talk to customers and clients in business and be able to show them that this is what you want. I already know what you want because I should be doing my homework and understanding what does my avatar desire in the marketplace. I should be showing them, hey, this is the problem. I know what the problem is. I actually just need to communicate the problem to them. And then I need to be their guide. I need to position myself as the Yoda to them being my Luke Skywalker. Luke was the main character. I'm your Yoda. I'm about to show you how to be a Jedi Knight, how to use the Force. But here's the plan. This is the training we have to go through, and I need you to go through the training because if not, then we're going to lose to the Empire. But if you do, success, right? This is so important for people to understand. So I recommend you go and read this book because quite frankly, storytellers are the ones who rule the world. And a lot of people think a person's either great at storytelling or they're not. It's just following a framework and taking time to script out a few stories for yourself. I have a handful of stories that when I talk to homeowners in real estate and I'm looking to buy properties, there's a handful of stories that I use over and over and over again. So it's not that I know a million stories. I just know a few stories and I tell them well because I'm having the same type of conversation with the same avatar regularly. So I want you to think about that for your business. I want you to think about how can you communicate the story to your customer, to the marketplace, to the people in your life that you're trying to influence or convince of something. How can you engulf them in a story? How can you involve them in a story where they are the main character, you are the guide, and them taking your action, which could be buying your product or buying your service, leads to a successful, beautiful future, and you help them avoid a painful future that they don't want. So guys, I hope this was helpful. If you've read the StoryBrand book before in the past, you already know how amazing of a book it is. But if you haven't, I recommend you go and pick that book up. Again, if you're new here and you enjoyed this video, go ahead and leave a like and do me a favor, comment down below what's another book maybe you want me to sit down and dive deeper into. This one I stayed a little bit more surface level because it's a really long book, but it's one worth reading. But maybe there's a book that you've read, you didn't quite understand that you would like for me to break down. Let me know in the comments below and we'll work on doing that book.